Hello. So for a while now, I've been meaning to make this video explaining my art process from start to finish. Um, when I decide to begin my pieces with a candle reading. So a candle reading is a form of divination that my grandmother taught me. You take a candle, light it, typically ask a question, and run a piece of paper over it, the flame, and usually a really strange image is burnt into it. You can see faces, objects, and then that can be interpreted to bring some insight into your question. Whether or not it'll completely answer it, not guaranteed obviously, but it definitely brings thoughts that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So typically, honestly, when starting an art piece, I don't ask a question beforehand. I don't really want to limit it. I kind of just want to keep it open and kind of just ask it to show me what it wants to show me. But for the sake of the video and explaining the process, I will ask a question. Alright, so I tried to think of a good question. That's up for debate. But the question I landed on was, what are some societal problems that we face, that many people face, that are kind of unspoken, like kind of buried underneath the surface instead of like people consciously like even realizing they are experiencing it at all. So kind of a vague question. We'll see how it goes. But as you can probably tell, I can't really see what's being burnt on there till you flip the paper over. And also I taped the borders so that I would have somewhere to grab. Not necessary, but I'd also typically use higher quality paper, but I wanted to keep this one kind of loose like a sketch. Purpose of it is more for explanation rather than actually making an art piece this time. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so here I'm just marking the page, erasing where I see things, and already it's kind of funny. See different things than I saw then, so just doing this at different times, looking at it for different amounts of time, you'll see different things, and I'm sure you guys are seeing things that I'm not. So if you want to share any of that, that would be really cool. Alright, and to finish up, I'm just going to quickly go over some of the important figures that I saw that kind of felt relevant to the question. So this first one is this blue, long-faced sad guy. So I guess that would be kind of an obvious thing. The next is this bear head. So I guess like a sense of, bears usually represent like isolation, frustration, anger. So I would assume that's the kind of qualities it would be talking about. And then this is just a really sad, painful, depressing looking face, like their eyes are super close shut. And you can only see a part of their face too, but you can just tell that not a happy face at all. Just almost like depressed pain, depression. Here is like a head that's totally splitting off into two heads, and they're going in opposite directions. So that would make me think that this would be like somebody's personality going in two different directions, or just like their actions in general kind of splitting off, and it's like they're not a unified person. They're not integrating their qualities correctly, and they're kind of working against each other instead of for each other. And this set of figures I feel like is like a more feminine figure, and what I would assume it represents is not necessarily like only like this is a woman's problem, but it's definitely like a common thing for women to be more agreeable than men, kind of just doing what people want of them. So maybe that would be like another common problem. People in general, not just women, of course, just doing things to make other people happy, or what gets them what they feel like love and attention from others, when it's not necessarily what they want to be doing. There's another figure. The heads aren't connected like the last set of like splitting heads were, but they definitely like seem connected to each other because they're right next to each other, obviously. But one of them's like watching everything else with judgment, but like not actually participating in it. So it's kind of I guess a kind of a stuck place to be looking at everything else like it's less than. Here is pretty strange looking little face, but it's kind of definitely a lot more realistic than most of the other ones. Kind of looks like they want to say something, but they're not. And this is another figure that's kind of got two heads as well. So I'm not sure if it's just like one head split off in two, or if it is two figures. And then this is kind of a common thing I see in my pieces a lot. It's kind of a wormy looking thing. It's like old and pathetic. And it's like smiling, but it's just like, I feel like that's kind of always what the worm represents in my work. So no different here. And that would definitely be, I guess, a problem people would have. Low self-esteem, or just like literally not being a useful person at all. And then this face is kind of like a lion-y cat face. The eyes are like super far apart, and the nose is like so big, so it looks really funny. It doesn't look like regal or strong at all. Cowardly lion, I guess. Stupid lion. I don't know. And then this face, I feel like it's kind of like a uppity, judgmental face. Maybe like representing like people being overly outraged about things, feelings of moral superiority. It's not like bringing them any happiness, it's kind of making things worse instead of their intentions, which are definitely to try to make things better. And once again, another face with another face right next to it, almost kind of like a shadow. The strange thing about this one is it's like the shadow looks super archaic and repressed. It's like not very clear at all. Like it's super underdeveloped. And the persona, you know, like the more conscious personality is actually like kind of mean and combative looking. Just kind of like a reversion of usually what the shadow is. So that is kind of a interesting take. Like somebody's repressing people repressing the good parts about themselves, or like the more nice, friendly parts of themselves, which I guess could also happen. So, and would cause imbalances and problems. And last but not least is this little trio of heads, and they definitely feel connected to each other. And I feel like this would represent like an unsatisfactory pattern of emotions. Like they're too simple. They don't extend the full healthy range of emotions. So it looks like it's kind of going from blankness, maybe like emotional detachment, to extreme highs and then extreme lows. And it would definitely kind of be an exhausting way to exist and out of balance. Alright, so let me know if any of these seem like good answers, or if they just don't seem like good answers at all. Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear them. And what I would love more than anything is for people to follow this process as well. See what kind of things they see. And if you do, definitely share it with me. I will look at it, and if you have any questions or anything, I would be happy to walk along with you with it as well. So that would be really cool. Thanks for watching.